This coming Sunday, the Special Court Releases Committee will discuss the case of the terrorist who stabbed and wounded then 12-year-old Naor Ben-Ezra in the Pisgat Ze'ev neighborhood in Jerusalem. According to the committee's decision, while the terrorist will be given the right to speak before its members, Ben-Ezra, who also wanted to speak, was refused. So why is the attacker's testimony but not the victim's? Here to react, Naor Ben-Ezra's attorney and former head of the military's Prosecution Office for Judea and Samaria, Lieutenant Colonel in Reserves and attorney Maurice Hirsch. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon.
So Maurice, please take us back to 2015 and tell us what exactly happened there.
So 2015, Naor is sitting on his bicycle in the street in Pisgat Ze'ev, and along comes the terrorist and his cousin. The terrorist at the time was 13 years old. His cousin was older, a little bit older than that. They stabbed two people. They first stabbed another passerby, and then they came to Naor, who was just sitting on his bicycle, doing nothing, and just going out to buy some candy. The terrorist at the time, one of the terrorists, the older terrorist, was neutralized at the scene, but the terrorist Ahmed Manasra was arrested. At the time, Mahmoud Abbas made a whole deal of this terrorist attack, saying that Israel had extrajudicially executed the terrorist, when that wasn't in fact true. And indeed, camera crews were allowed into his hotel, into his hospital room, and there he was seen smiling and receiving medical treatment. He was then charged for the crime for attempted murder. He was convicted and sentenced initially by the district court to 12 years in prison. The Supreme Court on appeal then lowered that sentence to 9.5 years. Now the question is, what happens while he's serving his sentence? The general rule is that in Israel, after serving 2/3 of your sentence, you can come before a special parole board. Now, what happens is, in the cases of terrorism, where you've been convicted for either attempted murder or murder, the law says that you are not entitled to an early release. But because the case of Manasra was decided so early, the court wasn't aware of, or that a provision hadn't yet come into force. And so the court didn't specifically provide that this was a terror offense.
And I have to ask you, in fact, the terrorist, as you said, has already asked for early release and has been denied several times. This time, he was given permission to present his claims. Why?
Well, so this time it's before the same special parole board. What happened was that the parole board denied his request for any type of opportunity to come before the regular parole board. And his lawyer, Leah Tzemel, appealed that decision to the district court. The district court said that it was unreasonable that the parole board had made a decision just basically on the written documents and had to give him a chance to be heard. So they sent the case back to the special parole board. They made another hearing in which they allowed Manasra to make written pleadings before the parole board.
Unbelievable. And why did the committee refuse to allow Naor to speak in it?
Well, so the committee, this committee in particular, doesn't generally hear anybody. The fact that the district court, and this is really the source of the entire conundrum in this case, is that the district court ordered the committee to partake in a proceeding that it doesn't usually have. In this part of the proceedings, before the special parole committee, it isn't the regular parole committee or the regular parole board. It's a special committee. Generally, no one else comes and makes pleadings before this committee. What the district court did was that it invented proceedings that do not exist and required then the committee to carry out those proceedings without any written instruction.
And unbelievable, only in Israel. Can you tell us how Naor is recovering since the attack?
Naor was 12 years old at the time. The last 7 years of his life have truly been a disaster. He suffers from constant post-traumatic stress disorder. He constantly relives the attack. He's unable to sleep. He's unable to concentrate. He's unable to hold down a job. He suffers from that attack constantly, both physically and mentally to this day.
Simply unbelievable how Israel time and again is simply not doing enough to prevent the next terror attack. Attorney Maurice Hirsch, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel Kadosh. I wanted to invite you all to subscribe to ILTV Plus, where you can find our daily news and updates about Israel. And not only that, but live feeds, entertainment, our kosher food show, and so much more. Needless to say, your subscription to ILTV Plus helps us grow and create more content while also supporting the state of Israel. Our app is available on all platforms and devices, so I'll see you guys there.